Eulogy of Mr. Holbert. The world had a grip on him while he ignorantly thought he had a grip on the world. He wouldn't pray, though he was a self-proclaimed Christian, because he was strong enough to handle everything. Nothing and nobody was tougher than the reputation that he was known by. So tough, in fact, that he lived by the motto, "I'd rather live on my feet than die on my knees." So cool, so tough, and so popular. But yet in front of everyone, his spirit was dying. My friend was influential to everyone who knew him. He wasn't depressed, just lost and confused. He certainly wasn't living up to the potential he was capable of, or what God wanted him to achieve. My friend is me. While the world continuously blessed my life, I ventured deeper and deeper into the darkness, farther away from what God was calling, farther away from God and the calling that he was calling me to. Alive in me and dead to him. I was content with digging my own 9x9 grave and wouldn't let anybody near me. I entrenched myself into a foxhole of lies and was armed to the teeth with all the worldly pleasures I could fit in my pocket, trusting no one and closing everyone out. My foxhole was dark and gloomy, like me, just the way I liked it. I was so unaware of the light that God had so purposely placed in my life. It was growing with every kind word of each nameless, faceless passerby. These covert Christians were penetrating my impenetrable fortress with loving words, laughter, and lucrative language. God was infiltrating my barricades and building me into this God-fearing man. The world was losing its grip and the light was shining in. It wasn't an overnight success, a cataclysmic event, or even one particular person that saved me, but instead it was multiple people, multiple times, and multiple events that God reached me. He reached out and grabbed me and no longer requested, but instead demanded that I be the man I was intended to be. For the first time in my whole life, I dropped my shovel and walked away from my house in the sand and moved into a house on the rock. Chapter 7, verse 24 through 27 says, "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. My old friend has died and has now been reborn, and now lives by the motto, I'd rather die on my knees than live on my feet. And though no 21 gun salute was ever rendered, I still feel as though my old friend is resting in peace." Thank you.